I want to talk about the absolutely disgraceful doxing of Millennial Woes by the Daily Record, and also the Daily Record's attempts at directing mob violence towards him and his family. Before I go into this, before SJWs and the prosecutors start going all, he supports a neo-Nazi, we've got him, we've fucking got him. I want to say that I massively disagree with very many of Millennial Woes' views, so sorry to bust your bubble before you could bust a nut. Everyone that knows me knows that I'm a firm believer in that no one should be persecuted for their opinion, no matter what their opinion is. You should in no way release someone's private information and encourage violence towards them just because you disagree with their opinion. I don't in any way agree with the opinions of Millennial Woes, but the fact that he's had to flee the country and him and his family have been placed in danger is absolutely fucking disgusting. Like, this fucking headline. But today the Record can expose him as a jobless art student who still lives with his dad and preaches Nazi vitriol from his bedroom. This isn't a headline. This is a transcribed argument between two 12-year-olds on Xbox Live. This is honestly the most immature and childish thing I have ever seen in journalism. It looks like a child wrote that. I bet you have no job and live in your mum's basement, you fucking neat. What makes it better, and I'm not actually going to show this, but they posted pictures of his dad's house, where he fucking lives. You can see the number plate on the fucking house. I was able to find it in minutes on Google Maps. The reporter also went around all his neighbours' houses, knocking on the doors and telling them all what Millennial Woes was. That's totally not going to start an angry mob at all. Not at all. Reporters were also constantly knocking on his door, and the Record actually printed this part themselves. The Record visited his home yesterday to try to speak to Robertson, but no one answered the door. Minutes later, a police van arrived at the address after someone called the force and claimed they were being harassed. Look at the way they've wrote that. Claims they were being harassed. Because they were being harassed. By you. You harassed the family so much that they had to call the cops, so don't sit there and act like, I wonder why they called the cops. Surely it has nothing to do with the fact that we're refusing to leave the property, we're harassing all the neighbours and we've knocked on the door about 30 times. But it can't be us though. The reason I know that's what happened is because that's exactly what you cunts did to me. The only difference is that when you went around knocking all my neighbours' houses, all my neighbours know me and like me and knew I was joking, so they all told you to fuck off. Apart from dogshit lady who you told I was a Nazi and she attacked my fucking house. That was caused by you. Because of the bullshit you spread about me, my house got attacked. And that's the exact same thing you were trying to do to Millennial Woes. But hey, I guess the headline, anti-fascist protesters burn down house killing all inside, would sell so many papers. Oh, did people die? Who cares? We made money, bitch! Millennial Woes has now had to flee the country due to the fact that he received credible threats from anti-fascist groups. Now, there is an anti-fascist group in Scotland that I'm familiar with, but I'm not going to name them just in case I start getting sent threats as well. I met them at an EDL-SDL demo a few years ago in Glasgow, and some of the people I spoke to in the group, they were very nice, very peaceful, and they truly wanted to promote their cause and fight against racism. But the other people in this group were just complete fucking thugs. They turned up to the rally with their black hoodies and their masks over their faces, and after a few minutes of talking with them, it was just clear that they just wanted to fight. I had excellent talks with the peaceful protesters, but these other guys, they didn't say anything about racism or their movement. They just wanted to beat people up. Oh, it's okay, they're only racists, no one will care. Crime is crime, cunt. What better to promote your cause than acting like a violent fucking idiot? And it really isn't uncommon for anti-fascist groups to track down and attack racists. Even tracking them down to their homes where they break in, smash everything, destroy everything and assault those inside, which has actually been on the rise among anti-fascist groups in Sweden. So obviously with the Daily Record telling everyone where he lives, encouraging mob violence against him and him receiving credible death threats, he has actually had to flee the country for his own safety, and that is nothing short of absolutely fucking disgraceful. The Record even went on to make fun of the fact that in order to live he has had to ask for donations. Vile YouTube racist flees to US and puts out the begging bowl after the Record exposes him. How dare this man try to feed himself and put a roof over his head? He shouldn't be eating or sleeping in a bed. He should be starving and sleeping on the streets in the middle of winter. In fact, if he could just die, that would be fantastic. The funny thing is about the latest articles around this is it doesn't actually say the name of the reporter, it now just says by record reporter, because the original reporter who wrote about this got a fuck ton of hate. But he is continuing to write about how he and the oh-so-brave Daily Record chased a man out of the country and placed him and his family in a situation where they can all be violently assaulted. Well, if you want to do something like that, you better put a face to your words. Mr. Alan McEwen, reporter for the Daily Record, weapons-grade cunt, childish motherfucker who's about as much of a journalist as I am a gender-fluid astronaut, you fucking scumbag. I am not encouraging violence in any way to Mr. McEwen. What I feel is that Mr. McEwen's actions placed a man and his family in immediate danger of being violently assaulted, and because of that, Mr. McEwen should be arrested and charged with culpable and reckless conduct. Even if the family were outright hood-wearing Klansmen, that does not make this okay. Also, this isn't me doxing him, I'm not the source of this picture has already been posted everywhere. I'm just showing it because since Alan McEwen thinks it's okay to completely dox and show the picture of someone who was allegedly encouraging hate to someone, then by Mr. McEwen's own logic it should be completely fine for me to show his picture when he was actually encouraging hate towards someone and their family. SJWs obviously did their usual schadenfreude of absolutely relishing in the fact that this man and his family were placed in danger, but can you imagine the absolute hypocrisy that we would see if this exact same thing happened to one of them? If an SJW got chased out of their home by right-wing groups, their family was placed in danger, and they had to flee the country, Team Snowflake would be in a fucking uproar. The Pepe memes are coming. This is Trump's fault. Fuck white people. The funny thing is, see if this exact same thing happened to an SJW, I would make this exact same video, but supporting them. Because no one, no matter who they are or what they have to say, should ever have to flee their country for their own safety because they expressed an opinion. If this happened to an SJW, it would be just as fucking disgraceful. Everyone should get to express their opinion. The normal response to a conflicting opinion is to debate it, argue against it, or in my case, ridicule it. Not encourage physical violence towards that person. And McEwen, you can try and say that you didn't encourage violence towards this guy, but trying to get off on the excuse of, I didn't encourage people to violently assault him. I just told all of the people who want to violently assault him how to find him and where he lives. That doesn't cut it. You knew exactly what would happen when you printed that article. In fact, I'm willing to bet that you were praying that that's what would happen. Would have made a good story. Anything to sell more papers, eh? When Hitler was starting off, he was persecuted for his opinion. And Fidel Castro and Vladimir Lenin had to go into exile because of what they believed. And we all know how that ended. You would think that by now we would have learned that persecuting an opinion doesn't change that opinion, it fortifies it. And if Hitler and Castro have taught us anything, it's that opinions come back, and sometimes with a fucking vengeance. I know for a fact that people are going to misunderstand me on purpose and say that I'm supporting a Nazi's views, despite the fact that I've stated several times already that I don't. And what a lot of people don't seem to understand is that just because you support a person's right to say things does not mean that you support the things that they say. This can be anyone from alt-righters, SJWs, religious people, atheists, racists, anti-racists, fuck, even the creeps that think that child porn should be legalised. Everyone gets to have a fucking say. That's how democracy works.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube. Everybody should subscribe.